adrenaline rush that only comes from performing the wildest and most dangerous stunts. And unfortunately, the risk is sometimes far greater than the reward. Here's a look at daredevils who tragically lost their lives doing insane stunts. Most of us don't need to build a rocket in order to know that the Earth isn't flat. Still, there are some people who are convinced that it's all a big conspiracy that literally every scientist in the world is in on. It seemed Mike Hughes was one of that handful of people who was convinced that the Earth is flat, but he wanted the rest of the world to be convinced too. So he built a rocket, which he launched from the California desert. That's one way to find out whether or not the Earth is flat. Those remote cameras should tell you everything you need to know. Except, he didn't just send up cameras. He wanted to see the flat Earth with his own eyes. Unfortunately, his rocket crashed shortly after launch, and he was killed before he could reach the hoped-for altitude of 5,000 feet. Hughes' publicist Darren Schuster told the New York Times after Hughes' death that Hughes didn't actually believe the Earth was flat. He said he was eccentric and believed in some government conspiracies, for sure, but it was a PR stunt. Either way, it's not quite clear.
I believe it is flat.
I believe you don't believe that, and you just want a free trip to space.
A lot of people think that.
Regardless, Hughes wasn't an amateur daredevil. According to the BBC, he'd successfully completed a lower altitude launch the year before his fatal attempt, and he set a Guinness World Record in 2002 for the longest limousine jump. So his fatal accident wasn't necessarily because he was an inexperienced daredevil, and there was definitely an element of very, very bad luck. Jessie Combs originally set the land speed record for a four-wheeled vehicle in October 2013. Her jet-powered vehicle hit 398 miles per hour, but Combs wasn't satisfied. She made a few attempts to bust her own speed record and clocked more than 483 miles per hour in those attempts. But the runs couldn't be recorded as records because of mechanical issues. Undaunted, Combs decided she was going to aim for 619 miles per hour. Ultimately, she wanted to beat Kitty O'Neill's land speed record of 512 miles per hour, which had been set in a three-wheeled vehicle in 1976. Combs was in her jet-powered car on a dry-leg bed in Oregon's Alvord Desert when USA Today says the front wheel suffered a mechanical failure, causing the entire wheel assembly to collapse. Combs had accelerated to nearly 550 miles per hour at the time of the failure,